Welcome to the Asian Dating Podcast. Today I have good friend and colleague Erika Ettin. She is the founder of A Little Nudge, the leading online dating coach in the US and the new voice of online dating, according to Philly.com. Among other outlets, A Little Nudge has been profiled on NPR's Tell Me More and the Kojo Namdi Show, the New York Times, the Washington Post, and AskMen.com. Erika has been JDate's leading expert, a featured columnist on Philly.com, and she currently writes a weekly dating column syndicated through the Chicago Tribune. Her book, Love at First Sight, has also received high acclaim. Erika, I will include your whole bio in the show notes, and welcome to the show, and I'm so excited you're here. How are you doing?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Man, that bio makes me sound pretty good. I'm like,
You are amazing. I mean, there's so many things I didn't even say or mention, but I've known Erika for, I would say maybe 13 years, 14 years maybe.
a long time. And what people don't know is we both have an affinity for playing poker.
Yes, we do. We do. We have affinity for playing poker. We've met at the matchmaking conferences, and we always love to talk about dating. And
We
yeah,
sure
I'm
do.
excited. So, you are the leading online dating expert, especially with women online, offline, and men, right? You do both?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So,
work with both. I do have more female clients than I do male. And I always attribute that to the fact that maybe men might need more help, but women are more inclined to ask.
yeah.
So so yeah, I do, but I work with everybody.
Okay. Okay. So, what do you think some of the challenges women have, especially with online dating in their 30s and 40s and 50s?
Well, uh, I mean, it really depends on the person, but it's really hard to know, and this is not just for women, for anyone, how to portray yourself in a small amount of space. So even if you're a great writer, sometimes it's really difficult to know how to distill yourself down into a certain 300 characters, for example, because what do you want to share about yourself? And a lot of people try to share their entire life story, which I would not recommend. And a lot of people use a bunch of what I call empty adjectives to describe themselves, like I'm funny, I'm smart, I'm attractive. Those are all really subjective, and you don't honestly, you can't tell if those things are true to you until you meet that person. So I would say the first challenge is just knowing how to market yourself. Also, in the 12 years I've been doing this, for better or for worse, I have found out that people really aren't aware necessarily of how what they're putting out there is taken by other people. Like some of the pictures people share with me that they're thinking about using, I have to think to myself, like, really? You thought that was the picture? Someone sent me a picture of a bowl of soup the other day, and they're like, should I post this? I'm like, why? In the name of, like, why? Well, I made this soup. That's nice. Now you eat the soup. The end. People are not going on a date with soup. They're going on a date with you. All they want to see is who's going to show up on the date. Nothing more, nothing less. Nothing ceases to amaze me anymore.
So, what did you suggest for her to do instead of posting a photo of the soup? Should she mention she likes soup in her bio, like different places she likes to go eat bowl of soup? I mean, what did you recommend? What was the alternative?
There was no alternative. I said, don't post that. But yeah, absolutely. You can write in your bio, I like to cook, just tried my hand at soup for the first time. That is much better than posting a random bowl of soup that could have been taken from the internet. So, same thing with, people post sometimes pictures of a dog. I don't know if that's your dog. Is that a dog you saw on the street one day? Is that if you're going to be posting a picture, be in the picture.
Right, right. So you said people just write funny, I'm attractive, I have a great sense of humor. Like, how would they express that a little bit more in their profiles to, convey that they are those things without sounding boring?
use the sense of humor. So rather than saying I'm funny, say something that's actually funny to you. So, for example, if you love puns, you might put a pun in your profile. I saw a cute one the other day that said something like, there's a fine line between the numerator and the denominator, or so it was cuter than that I'm not remembering. That's adorable. That's a math joke and a pun. Whereas if you like sarcasm, maybe sarcasm is hard to portray in writing, but maybe you say something in a sarcastic manner. If you like a certain type of movie, maybe put a list of the movies you like. That'll give you a sense. If you say you like Bridesmaids versus um Top Gun versus Lord of the Rings, that might give someone a sense of your humor, a sense of what you like. And so it's always going to be that concept of show, don't tell. I personally hate when people say fluent in sarcasm. First of all, sarcasm is not a language. Second, I personally hate sarcasm. And that to me is just so lazy. Just say something in your brand of humor.
Right, right. I think 9 out of 10 guys, at least the clients I work with, they don't like sarcasm. Men don't really like sarcasm.
Really?
It's at
Good.
least
I find
not
that
in
most people
my
do.
world. Yeah, it's like if you're sarcastic, there's another way for you to be funny. So express that way in your profile because sarcasm can be a huge turnoff for some people.
Yeah, I think it's just an excuse to be mean most of the time, but maybe I'm an extreme because I'm an extremely literal person and I love puns. So anyway, just be you rather than overstating who you think you are or portraying yourself in a way you want other people to see you. Just be yourself. Like I had an interesting conversation with a client just before this, actually. Extremely accomplished woman, very high profile job, very smart. And I wrote her profile and I wrote it based on the conversation I had with her, which she said some really cute things in that conversation. She talked about how, since she's not from a cold climate, the first time it snowed, her hair actually froze, which is adorable. Uh, we talked about things, she likes musical theater and things like that. And she initially was not happy with the profile. She's like, but it doesn't talk about my high profile job. And it doesn't show a picture of me, speaking at this very important lecture. And it doesn't do this and that and the other. And I said, this is a dating profile, not a resume. I know how important your job is to you. And trust me, the minute somebody meets you, they'll know how smart you are. But to overstate it in the profile is doing too much.
I agree. I remember when I used to date back in, I don't know, however, 20 years ago, and I would kind of lead with that with my job and how great it was and what a high powered job it was. And that's actually not the way to attract men. I mean, talking about your job is so not conducive for dating. It's actually a turnoff. And I didn't realize that until I look back or until I became a matchmaker. I'm like, wow, I was dating wrong. I wasn't dating the right way, how I would do it today. If I were to talk to my, 25-year-old self, I would totally not lead with my great job and how many people I
Yeah.
supervised and all that boring stuff. So, yeah, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
And that's to say, like, I don't want anyone listening thinking we're saying to water yourself down, because that's not what we're saying at all. It's just what you're leading with. When
Yeah.
you're dating, you want to be approachable. You want someone to want to talk to you. Again, it's not a resume. And someone will appreciate the fact that you manage a bunch of people and you have this extremely high profile job once they get to know you. And so yeah, I agree with you. And it's something I almost feel badly as a woman saying to someone, like, we're not going to lead with that because I know how important career is. It's important to me too. It's just not what I ever recommend leading with because the minute somebody reads that, they think to themselves, this person has no time for me. They're always working. Or, I'm not already getting the type A driven person at work. I'm looking to date for a respite from that sometimes.
Yeah. No, great, great, great tip. So, what else do you find challenging for men? What are some of the struggles that men have with online dating?
Similar stuff in terms of knowing what to put out there, but I would say sometimes men, when they aren't getting the response they want, try less hard.
Mhm.
And then they're still upset that they're not getting the response they want, which is the opposite direction I would go. So, for example, let's say you're on Hinge, one of the dating apps. And let's say as a guy, you used to send cute, clever messages to everyone, but you weren't getting the response you want. So now you just hit like, or you send, hey, hi, what's up? And you're still not getting it. I would always recommend continuing to take that time to write a unique, tailored message. It doesn't have to be anything long. It can be one line, one question. Wow, that's a really great picture of you playing tennis. Do you play competitively? Whatever. I just made that up. But putting in less effort will not get you the results you want. And I know a lot of men get frustrated and so they sort of just like throw darts, but I recommend just keeping up, putting the time in because it will pay off.
Well, instead of sending 20 likes or 20, hey, good morning messages, you can just send three quality messages, right? Wouldn't their odds actually
Absolutely.
increase? Right. Right.
Yes, absolutely. Also, don't as a guy, if you're searching for women, don't lead with anything physical. All too often, a guy will send a woman a message like, you're beautiful, blah, blah, you're sexy, hey, beautiful. Most women, at least most women I know, are not receptive to that. As women, and 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 this is not saying the opposite of what we were just saying about the job stuff, but we don't want to be recognized. Well, trust me, we want to be complimented on our beauty or whatever you want to call it after you get to know us and we like you. But if that's the first thing when especially with my clients, if they've written a really good profile, then it's like read the profile. At least pretend you care what we said in the profile. So generally, pet names, things about physical body, anything physical will not work if you're a guy searching for a woman.
Great tip. And what do you suggest when they're talking via texting or they went offline and started chatting? When do you ask for more photos? When does a guy say, "Hey, can you send
Never.
me a photo of you in a bikini?" Oh, can you send me a photo of, do you know what I mean? A provocative photo? Like, when is it okay to do that?
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic right now. It's never okay to do that.
Right. I know. I just wanted to hear you say
Oh,
that because
okay.
there's so many times, even when I work with a guy with a matchmaking service, and he's like, "Well, can I just get a photo of her in a bikini or whatever?" And I'm like, "No, you don't ask me that, nor do you ask her that." Like, just yeah, I just
Ugh.
wanted to hear you say no because I don't. And
Okay, I was a little confused first to see I'm so bad with the sarcasm, the deadpan. I don't get it. But no, the answer is no. And that's also the reason people are like, so can I see your Insta? Can I have your Instagram? All they're just looking for more pictures, right? If you post, so I recommend 5 pictures total, except Hinge, which requires all 6. 5 is enough. You have one clear shot of your face. You have at least one full body. You have you doing something interesting that might generate questions. I call that message bait. And then just 2 others of you in your element. That is enough for someone to know whether they want to meet you or not. And so, them asking for your Instagram, I would say no, or you're not big on social media because they're just looking to see more pictures of your body. You
yeah,
know what? They can get that when they meet you.
right, right. Okay. That was my poker
I know
face.
I got
That's
fired
why.
up. Sorry. What'd you say?
I said that was my poker face. That's why you didn't know if it was my sarcastic
That's
or not
why you're so
sarcastic.
much better than I am at poker.
Okay, that's funny. Okay, so what is your biggest tip if someone loves animals? Do you recommend that women pose with their cats or dogs, or men pose with their cats or dogs? I get mixed messages with that one.
One picture with your pet is perfect.
Okay.
So if you post one picture with if you have 5 pictures posted and one is with your pet, that's 20% of your pictures, your life. That's enough. I would not just post a picture of your pet. I find that strange. So be in the picture. But yeah, assuming your pet is an important part of your life, one picture with the pet is great.
Okay. That's it. That's it. Okay.
Yeah, I
So
don't care if it's your cat, your dog, your iguana, whatever.
tell me about a success story you've had with a client that you've worked with and some of the challenges and then led to their success or being in a relationship. Can you think of someone off the top of your head that you really tried to work with her? It didn't work out at first, but she finally came around and, practiced your protocol
Yes.
for dating.
So my most successful clients, and I do have a specific story, but my most successful clients are the ones who trust, and you probably feel this way too, who trust that I have their best interest at heart. I'm not going to send them on a date just to send them on a date, but I might try to take them outside of their quote type. It's when people try to micromanage the process, like, oh, I won't go out with this one. He's not my type. I won't go out with it. And it's like, it's one date. It's not like you're committing to anything other than an hour out of your life. And so I do have to do some convincing sometimes to get people to just think outside the box. And I'm thinking of one person in particular. She's in her 30s, so pretty young. And she was against dating someone with children. And I understand that that can be, that's a real thing. That's a serious preference. And I understand that. But I found someone online who seemed like a great fit for her in terms of just their interests. And I don't know, he just seemed really nice to me and like a genuine person. And I showed her his profile first because I didn't want to just set it up without at least telling her, hey, he's got a son. And she pushed back and I said, I'm not here to tell you you have to date people. I just want you to look at this person in particular without making an arbitrary judgment on, you know, yes versus no. Anyway, they go out and they hit it off and she was still kind of unsure. Anyway, they keep going out and she keeps liking him more. Next thing you know, 6 months later, she sends me this text with a picture of her with the guy and the son being like, we bought a house.
Wow.
And I'm like, what? So I mean, it's music to my ears when someone says, thank you for taking me outside my comfort zone because she loves the son. And it's like this cute, you know, family unit they've made, and she couldn't be happier. And again, I don't try to push people so far, but in this particular situation, I was really glad I did because I had a good feeling she would like him. I'm glad I was right. I could have been wrong, of course, but it's so nice when someone just says, okay, I hired you. I'm going to trust you. I have nothing on the line except one date. We'll see what happens. And it really worked out for her.
Very nice. So in that situation, did he want to have more kids? Like, does she want to have kids too? Her own kids?
I don't remember, to be honest. I don't remember all of the details. I know she was late 30s, which is always, I work with a lot of clients late 30s, early 40s. It definitely makes it more difficult. It makes dating more difficult if they do want biological children because, I hate to say this, I'm a woman in her 40s, but early 40s for what it's worth. But I hate to, as a fellow woman, I hate to say it, but it does make dating more difficult because men don't want to feel rushed. They don't necessarily, I'm 41. They don't necessarily want to choose a 41-year-old because they're going to feel like I won't have time to explore this relationship. She's going to want to have kids immediately. So it often takes the pressure off when you do date someone with children because they don't, because they've already had a child. So it's less pressure, even if you do want children. Anyway, I don't remember, to be
Right.
honest. I don't remember if she wanted more or not, or if he did.
Yeah, I feel like women who are open to having kids or not having kids, and they feel like they want to date only their age range, they should really give up to 10 years a shot. I mean, the guys 10 years older are probably a little more financially stable and more mature. They're probably in the same mature realm at that point. But I feel like if someone is open on having kids, they could go either way. They just have so many more options and should take advantage of it,
Yeah,
right?
I agree with that. You have more options age-wise, both older and younger, and it does take the pressure off. If and again, I'm not here to tell anyone what their preferences should be. My job, whether it's children or religion or ethnicity, my job is not to change you, but my job is to get down to the why of it. Like if someone says to me, and I realize it becomes an awkward conversation sometimes. If someone says to me, I will only date this race, or I will not date this race, which is hard for me to hear. Look, I think everyone should date everyone, give everyone a shot, but I'm not going to push my views on people. But if someone is so explicit about, I will not date fill in the blank, I will ask for a why, or at least make them think about the why. Because often it's like, well, that's how I grew up, or that's not, if someone says, I'm not attracted to fill in the blank ethnicity, I'll say, well, aren't there people of your own ethnicity you're not attracted to? Like that happens. Is that because of the race or ethnicity? Where is that coming from? And then again, this can be controversial, but then where is the line between preference and bias, prejudice? I don't know. That's not for me to decide, but I do try to get people to think about the why. And if their why isn't cutting it, maybe it's time to expand their criteria a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Well, being that this is the uh, Asian dating
I
podcast,
know.
one last question would be, how do you not convince, but how do you let your women and men more open to dating Asian men and women out there? What do you kind of try to sell them on to say, hey, why don't you try to look at this guy or whatnot?
Uh, I That's a great question. I think you know this as well as everyone else. Often men are more open to dating Asian women than women are open to dating Asian men. I'm glad there's more inclusivity in movies now and pop culture, because I don't know why that is. I think it's so silly. And so I don't present people as this is an Asian man. I present people as this is a man who seems amazing.
Yeah.
Here are the qualities. And so it's more of a whole package thing. So I'm not saying to people like you should go out with this person because he's Asian. No,
Right.
you should go out with this person because he seems like an incredible person.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get a yes, sometimes I get a no. Some clients I'll push a little further to see if there's some wiggle room. And some are so set in their ways that it's not worth it for me anymore. Sometimes I care too much and I need to stop because it stresses me out. So I'll just say, okay, and I know perfectly well they're getting in their own way, but we can't we can't change people.
So,
I do my best.
as matchmakers, we do ask, what age range do you want and what ethnicities do
Hmm.
you want, religion, if they have kids and all that
Yep.
stuff. But you're right, like how you expanded that person's thinking about dating a gentleman who has a kid. Sometimes when they filled out the profile, it could have been at that moment they said they don't want to date African
Yes.
American. At that moment, they didn't want to date Asian man or someone with a kid. But now, maybe 2 months later or a year later, they had a friend who dated someone similar and now they're
Hmm.
more open. So, yeah, you just never know. I find that
You
the
never know.
more I do this, it's like, well, it doesn't hurt if I ask them. The worst they'll say is no, but I do preface it by saying, I know this isn't who you
Yeah.
asked for, but it's outside the box. But what do you think? And it's
Yeah.
sometimes yes, so you never know. So
I love that. So I have a question for you because I think matchmakers differ a lot in how they work. So when someone comes to me or comes to you and has a certain set of criteria, I know some matchmakers will try to find that person everything they want, down to the last drop.
yeah,
Okay. Whereas other matchmakers, it sounds like you, definitely me, will take that into account,
yeah.
but I do not promise that you'll get all of the things you listed, and I will push back a little if I think some are ridiculous. Where are you in that process? Because I've collaborated with a lot of matchmakers who are like, nope, they asked for this, they're paying us, we're getting them this. And that makes me feel really uncomfortable
Yeah.
sometimes.
No, that's a great question. I always say if she meets 80% of your criteria, I highly think you should meet her. And all of my memberships are unlimited, if you will, but I want them to meet 1 to 2 matches a month. But you
Hmm.
hired me for a reason. Obviously, the last 20,
Yes.
30, or 40 years that you've been doing this hasn't worked out. So why not give me a chance? And I only have you for 3 months, 6 months, nine
Yes.
months. So it's like, why not just go for it? And I'm like you, Erica. I tell them it's not an arranged marriage. You're just going out on a date. You're just going to be
Yes.
pleasant for 60 minutes or 90 minutes on your first date. And if your only job is to have that person ask you out on a second date, and that's when I know you're a great dater. And in my mind, your status is going to go up, and I'm going to want to introduce you to more amazing
Hmm.
people because other people wanted to see you again. So it's in their
Yep.
best interest to go out there and explore. And yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
right there
I'm
with you.
glad. Yeah, I'm glad you agree. And people have this mindset sometimes that really is a pet peeve for me of I don't want to quote waste my time. I just I don't like that mindset. That's a mindset of basically you have to give me a song and a dance so that you're worth it. And it's like I plan on living a lot longer. I think most of our clients do too. Like, is an hour out of your life going to make or break? Like, you have a lot more hours. And so it's always worth it to me for a client to meet someone for that hour or 45 minutes or 90 minutes or whatever it is. And even if it doesn't go well, I never want people to have that waste of time mentality. Okay, so what? Now you know this is not your person. Next.
I know, I know. In interest of time, I just wanted to say that
Yep,
when they go out with somebody, they actually can practice their dating skills, right? Like maybe they
yep,
practice a new way of telling a story to this person. Maybe they realize I can be comfortable around this person, and you try to find common interests with them. And if not, they're just your friend, or be a
right.
matchmaker and try to introduce the single guy to one of your girlfriends. Like you just never know who you're going to meet.
Or
So, yeah.
tried a new bar or restaurant or coffee shop. Like there's always something to be gained, and so I really dislike that waste of time mindset because if you're going making someone prove to you that they're worth your time, that will not be a successful endeavor.
Yeah. And one last thing, and especially when they say, you know what, he's really not my type, but if you say he's great at this, this, and this, you know what, I'll meet him. And I say, great, meet him, and I bet you he'll surprise you. And if not, I will keep her in mind to meet another great guy because I know she's
Hmm.
open-minded. I know she's a great catch. So anyway,
Hmm.
yeah. Well,
No, I love this. It sounds like we're very similar in how we work. And I just like you as a person, just for what it's worth, in case anyone wants to know. I like May.
well, Erica, thank you so much for joining me today. I have so much fun talking to you all the time, and you look fabulous
Likewise.
today. And I hope we talk
Oh,
soon and talk some more. I mean, dating, there's so much to talk about all the time, but thank you for your
oh
time.
my gosh, we could talk for 4 hours, sure.
I will put all of your contact info in the show notes. So I will make sure people get in touch with you and all that good stuff. Any parting words from
Great.
you?
Ooh, that's always so much pressure. Parting words. Um, I'll just say it's just a darn date.
Yeah,
It's just a darn date. Go on
I
your darn
know.
date. I
I
don't curse.
know.
I don't like to curse, so I won't say the other one, but darn. Darn is
Okay.
okay.
Bye, Erica. Thank you so much.
Thank you.